primary background that I have from an education point of view is in marketing and finance. So I have a dual PhD in those areas. Like many college professors, you of course get spread with your research activities, with administrative activities. And so my career at Ohio State really was a balance between the teaching and the research and the administration. Having been in business all those years and taught advertising and stuff, I was always very cognizant of the American dream we were painting for everyone, that this is what you want to work towards so you can retire and play golf, go fishing, just go do what you want to whenever you want to. And so Rosie and I had a discussion in the early 1990s about what we were really going to do with the rest of our lives. We talked about if the opportunity came along, when could we really sort of leave the university and not leave the business world, because I guess I've always seen the business world as my mission field. So not retire completely, but maybe be able to free up some of the day-to-day kinds of things that I would ordinarily be doing at the university. So that opportunity came along in 1995. So I was 55 years old at that time, but it wasn't one of those things that, again, I sort of looked at and said, this is great, what a privilege to be able to retire. What I looked at it as was what a privilege to be able to go to the sort of the next stage, if you will, and spend even more time in Christian ministry work. You know, this is a lifelong work for the Lord, and we didn't really want to reach a point where we just simply said, okay, now the younger people need to do this, and we sort of had our tour of duty. The only thing that we're going to take with us are other people. When I get to heaven, it's not going to matter that I've got a PhD. It's not going to matter that I won teaching awards or I had the privileges to speak to business groups throughout the world, but to be able to see the people that are there, because in some way, through either financial support, through actually going to visit people in other countries, or working with individuals here in this country, to know that God used us in some way. Sometimes we feel that the only way we can enjoy life is to, again, do what we want to, when we want to, be our own master of our schedule and our resources. Where in fact, to me, the real joy in life comes from looking to Christ as the person who can help us determine how to best manage the resources that He's given us. For years, we always talk about, from a financial point of view, the key is to reach that particular point where we look at financial resources and we don't say, how much of my resources am I going to give to the Lord's work, but rather, how much of God's resources am I going to keep for myself? And I think that same perspective relates to our time. Just to paraphrase it, how much of my time am I going to put into ministry work and serving the Lord versus how much of God's time am I going to keep for myself? And when I come from that latter perspective and I see the joy that comes from looking to God and asking Him to show me how to use His time and His resources, the real joy begins to come. Primarily my ministry since retirement has been home church leadership. So I guess if anyone asked me what's my role now, I would say home church leader. In fact, I look for opportunities when I'm meeting new people. If they say, oh, you're retired, what are you doing now, or whatever, I always try to say in some way that I'm in ministry, that I'm a minister now. And of course, that opens all kinds of doors to be able to talk about what does that mean, what are you doing. I would get on a plane and say, God, I don't know if there's someone you want me to talk to, if there's someone that you want me to share with in some way, but you just open the doors, provide the opportunities. And our society pounds us with the enjoyment comes from being your own God, doing what you want to, when you want to, without any responsibilities to anyone else. And God says, I'll give you joy beyond imagination if you'll just follow me. When my family doctor gave me the results of the CAT scan and actually the ultrasound before that, I've known him for 20 plus years, and I could just see in his face that this, man, his choice of words, that this was a very difficult situation. And I think God gave me an understanding at that point that this was going to be a fairly short process. no regrets on having not spent more time on myself. The single regret that I would have, and it's almost like a blanket regret, is that that I missed opportunities to share my faith. I missed opportunities to take stands with friends and family, to be able to talk more about Jesus Christ and encourage them in ways. The confidence in where I'm going, the confidence in knowing that I'm going to be seeing family members, people in our own fellowship that have gone on. I can say with just complete confidence that has never waned. I know I will be overwhelmed by just being in His presence. I feel that there's probably going to be a sense of how much more I could have done. I don't think that's going to be a lasting kind of thing, but it's a little bit about, for someone who God has given a lot to, which He did. He gave me a lot. That I think much was expected. I think how much real that will be when God can put His hand on my shoulder or on my head to say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." So that's what I'm looking forward to, with great hope, great confidence.